Hey, welcome back to the Earn by Experience podcast, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Ben Browse. This week will be episode 8. This week I had JP Zurla on the podcast, and JP is a Ocean City police officer. So we got to unpack, some things about him on his daily basis and what he does for the police department. I had a lot of fun, so I hope you guys enjoyed the listen. And as always, I want to say thank you for the like, share, subscribes. It really helps the algorithm see us and get us bigger exposure. So thank you guys, and I appreciate all the support. Thanks. Pumped to have you here, dude.
I'm pumped to be here, man.
Heck yeah, man. We're in the studio. I just had so much fun. We just went to the golf range and we slung some freaking balls, dude.
We were crushing them, and I think I'm going to use that term very loosely. There were one or two that I know you and I hit, and I was like, oh shit, because there was a 230 yard maximum, and I was like, okay, please come down because I don't want to pay for whatever that hits.
Yeah, thank goodness there's a net over there.
Oh God, thank you. over on the side, especially towards the parking lot. I was like, come on. Okay, good, we're fine.
Yeah, I got a mean slice. I appreciate your tips too. They seem like they just freaking keep curving. I'm trying to figure them out, but your tips definitely helped. After a few of those, I got the mechanics down. I was putting too much force into it, so yeah, that was fun, man. I like that. It's a nice little hangout, before it's like, I don't know, just something fun to do.
Heck yeah.
I love it. So
yeah.
We've been on, we've had some guests here and we've shoot our bows before, and that's so much fun. And it gets us kind of like, I don't know, loosen up a little bit,
loosen up.
hanging out, have a, just a good day overall.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
I love it, dude. So, dude, you got a killer radio voice.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Dude, you ever consider being on local radio or anything?
I do want to do that. It's something that I have been actively pursuing to try to do. There's a couple of things I've done locally for some advertisements. Like there was a company because it was through Unseen Productions over in West Ocean City.
Oh yeah. Scott Lennox.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
nice.
And we do because our department uses them for a lot of our promos and stuff like that. So I've done a lot of the. Like the concert venue stuff, like it's like there'll be no parking downtown, like that kind of thing.
That's
like,
cool.
I've done that, some of our radio edits for that, and there was a company called Prop Tight. They were making a washer nut for propellers, and it was the Prop Tight propeller locking nut system. And it was I did a whole thing for that for their commercial.
That's
and
awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, it's something I want to get more into. I've enjoyed it, and just looking at. A lot of the different aspects for either voiceover or voice acting. I enjoy a lot of that. I like seeing it. There's something cool about it with, like, you're a red-blooded American male. I'm assuming that you've watched cartoons when you were younger. Yeah. So to see now that I'm older, a lot of these guys are more accessible, and you see like who actually voiced what such and such.
Yeah.
So to see like the voice of like Homer Simpson, who also voiced Dan Castellaneta. He voiced a myriad of different voices on that show, along with Hank Azaria. Like, and you got Jim Cummings, who did all like Winnie the Pooh, Darkwing Duck, like all these different characters growing up. To actually see them that they're still doing them, but then to hear like obviously they get older, you hear the change in the voice as they get older because they can't either hit the high notes or do whatever it is. But like to actually see them like on Instagram and all these different social medias, like talking in those voices, it's kind of wild to see because you're, oh my God, I grew up listening to this very guy do that. Granted, it was 25, 30 years ago. And to see how much it's still very relevant. And it really piqued my interest in something that I did want to get into with it. So
yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah.
I always critique my own voice, like it sounds to me like you listen to your own voice. It sounds to mean silly or whatever, but it's kind of cool. I never thought about it as like a tool, but I met this one guy. I forget where I was at. I was in Bishopville or something, and met this dude. My father-in-law introduced me to him. He says, "Hey, my name's Chip, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Damn, dude, you have a great voice. I hope you monetize it." And he's like, "Yeah, dude, I'm an announcer for rodeos." And I'm like,
makes sense. All right,
that's so badass, dude. Like, you just meet those types of people that have a killer voice, and I'm pumped that they're. Maybe that's something that goes into it when they're, when they finally realize they have a voice, like Mike Rowe or somebody. Like they he narrates tons of shows and things like that.
Mike Rowe's voice is awesome.
Oh, it is very much. But it's like realizing that you have a skill or a tool that like you can use to be one of those undercover job type things that you don't think about that as being a job unless you're blessed with a good voice, maybe. But I don't know. I just think it's cool. You do have a great voice. So.
I tried to do our radio station in college. I tried out as a DJ, and granted, they were right to do so. They were looking really for people that had that were going for some sort of like degree that was in audiovisual, that kind of thing. But they even said, like, you got a great voice for this. And I was like, please hire me then. They're like, no, we're not going to do that. And I was like, damn it. Yeah. But it is one of those things you don't really think about until people actually start telling you, like, like I would always joke around. And I knew that I kind of had that announcer kind of voice. So I would do that NPR, like skip the wait, order ahead on the app for Dunkin' Donuts. Like I would do that kind of stuff, and someone's like, you should really look into doing that because it's something that I got into a little bit late. I really should have started earlier. Now with AI and all that crap, but it is something that I do want to do.
That's killer, man. Well, hopefully one of these days, I guess that's one of those questions asked later in the thing. But so you're locally, you're a cop.
For Ocean City Police Department.
Yeah. So I guess we can dive into there and circle back at some point. But
sure.
That's killer, man. So that's, I've known you for a long time, but that's something that I'm super appreciative is for law enforcement. And we've had a couple DNR officers on here and a Marine and stuff. So it's kind of cool to shed light on what they do every day. So I love it, man. So what got you into it? Like, go into like your background a little bit and like kind of what led you to where you're at now. So like your background, I know we chatted, and you're from Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just outside of New York City in Rutherford, New Jersey is where I grew up. And when I was younger and I was thinking about what to do as a job, I wanted to be an actor, and that was kind of shot down as like, hey, maybe you want to think of something differently because that's not going to pay a lot of the bills, because 98% of those who act are like, I'm going to make it, and they don't go anywhere. And not just like, I'm pretty sure I would have fallen into that. That's a hard percentage to kind of come to terms with.
Yeah, and you got to travel too. I see. Well, maybe not. Maybe locally here, there's probably some gigs too, but. It's like you gotta immerse yourself in that thing.
You really do, and you got to devote all the time to it, and that really wasn't going to work out. So, thought long and hard about it. Ended up deciding that I wanted to go into law enforcement in some way. Ended up going to college, studied criminology and investigation at West Virginia University, and I got pulled aside by a professor of mine, Jim Nolan, and he said, "Hey, you want to be a cop, right?" And I didn't. I wanted to do like DEA, ATF, FBI, IHOP, all those, like the letter alphabet agencies, and it was along the lines of, he was like, I love your enthusiasm, but you don't speak Farsi and you don't have an accounting degree, so the FBI isn't going to take you without any kind of experience. So he's like, look at this internship that they got in Ocean City. So the internship was the seasonal police program, and I did that in the summer of 2006. Ended up like saying, this is what I want to do. I actually loved being a cop, and came back in 2007. They hired me full time, and I've just been here ever since.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
That's badass. So did you know, like when you were young, that you had some sort of burning desire to do it, or was it just like one of those things where, other than being an actor, wanting to be one, was it like a late term decision type thing? Like, this probably is going to work out. I'm going to I mean, I guess what made you want to pursue your criminology degree? Like, what kind of sparked that? I guess.
So when I was in high school, and really when the thoughts of like, hey, what do you want to do? Like, and the acting thing wasn't gonna probably shouldn't be the number one choice. There should be that's a fine backup. 9/11 had just happened, and thinking long and hard about what there was to do and what I could do. Police officer stuck out to me, and that's why I ended up looking at originally criminal justice. But talking with a bunch of people, they were like, "Hey, look, criminal justice. A lot of that you're going to get in a police academy or any kind of law enforcement academy. Look for something different in that." You can by all means be law enforcement, but look at something that's going to be a little bit more widespreading or like wider catch of what would encompass what you want to do. So criminology and investigations kind of fell into that because it's a lot more of the psychological behind it, which really interested me. That's why I ended up pursuing that.
That makes sense. That's cool. And then, so the professor is kind of what got your foot in the door for Ocean City.
Yeah, he's the one that told me about, because I knew Ocean City, New Jersey, and I never heard of Ocean City, Maryland, which was kind of funny now being down here. All I see are Jersey tags in the summer sometimes.
Yeah.
But I had never heard of it. I never summered down here. I had no idea about it. And then the first time I heard about it was during that promo for the police program.
And that was in West Virginia. That's crazy to me that he had connections here and then pointed you here at some point. When
I came on, I started a year or two after I joined our recruiting team, and we would go to all different colleges, universities, and up and down the East Coast. And
okay, so they're actively seeking people outside.
Yeah, especially during that time. Now we don't have seasonal officers anymore as of this year, but up until this past summer, every year there was probably 3 or 4 solid months of people going out and going to different universities, talking to different like criminology clubs or sociology clubs, and career days and all that, trying to actively recruit for the summer program. And we used to almost exclusively hire from the seasonal officer pool because it was an added benefit. We knew what we were going to be getting from these people. We had a few months with them. We saw how they worked. We saw their ethics and the kind of attitudes that they all had. So like, hey, this person's probably going to work out pretty good. So our decision could be based upon what we had seen with them already. Okay. And we had a high percentage of like, yeah, this is going to work out. Now we're in a little bit uncharted territories. Not saying that's bad, but we don't have the foreknowledge of the person now that we're hiring them, other than the background check and everything that we do for them.
Gotcha. Yeah. So what kind of like training and things do you have to go through to be on the Ocean City Police Department? Like when you first got here as a young man, I don't know how old you were, but probably whatever, it doesn't matter. But you get kind of thrown into this thing where like I don't know how it works. I assume you go to the academy or something.
Yeah, you go to for your information, I was 22 when I got hired.
Okay. I figured probably 22, 23, 24, somewhere in there. So
22, it was my first full-time job, and I got hired, and then I want to say a week or two later, I ended up going to the academy, and it was 6 months, and it is 5 to 6 days a week, depending on what was planned for that week, but it was a minimum of 5 days a week, and you would all the PT that you could stomach, and then some more. They really wanted you to be in top physical condition when you left, and then it was kind of up to you. That fell by the wayside for me a bit, but when it comes to the actual academic course of it, there was criminal law, there was constitutional law, traffic law, certain local ordinance stuff, depending on what your jurisdiction was going to be, because it wasn't all Ocean City. It was the Eastern Shore Criminal Justice Academy, so it was all different agencies. So there wasn't a whole lot of local that was going to be taught by whatever agency they ended up going with. But there was, we had defensive tactics. You learn how to drive. You learn firearms. That's the most focused week with the firearms, because that thing is obviously very dangerous. So they want you to be very, very proficient in it. And you learned about psychology, de-escalation, how to talk to people. They called it, I'm sure they still do call it verbal judo, like how to talk with people.
Yeah,
like
that makes sense.
Hey, I don't want to fight. Like, how do we, you putting hands on somebody should be the absolute last thing that you do.
Yeah.
Granted, some people jump to the end of that thing, depending on how the situation's going, but you always start off, you try to talk. That was a very important course. And that was the kind of the bread and butter of the academy, just 6 months of all that, and a myriad of different, like, first aid and all that kind of stuff as well.
It blows my mind how much stuff you guys have to know, like, not only to do your job proficiently, but then, like, to recognize, like, not that you're looking for it, but like you have to store some sort of memory of the laws in your head, which blows my mind that, like, not only are you worried about, like, applying a tourniquet and and insert whatever and responding to these crazy situations, but then you have to, like, know, okay, well, according to Comar and blah, 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 your tires are sticking out. And, I mean, I know it's basic stuff. I'm just using it as an example, you got to store some knowledge, like, hey, this, you can't be riding in the back of the truck. I know it's basic stuff, but, like, I know that's all visual stuff that you'd see, but, like, it just blows my mind that you guys are on the forefront of all that, and you have to store all that information.
There is a lot of information that you do, not only state, but also county, local, and then all the traffic stuff, which also has its own local ordinance information. And it was very overwhelming to begin with, because you come out on the road and you're like, I got 6 months under my belt. Then you go through a field training program, and you're on your own, and you're like, okay. Something happens in front of you, and you're like, okay, I know this is illegal. How is it illegal? Like, then you try to, the hamster starts, like, spinning the wheel in your brain, and you're like, okay, okay, I have to do this, and then I have to talk to so-and-so, and then after that, there's a lot of A leads to B leads to C leads to D. But when I first started, it was, you can see, like, people, like, especially now, like, I see guys, I'm 18 years on now, and I see, like, guys that are fresh out of the academy. Something happens in there. There's that buffering. Like, okay, now I know what to do. They had to think about it for a second.
Yeah, and it's real. Like, you have to, you actually have to respond. It's like your responsibility to get out there and do it. And there's got to be some. And I don't know this for a fact, but I know years ago I worked for a gas company. Like, I was took a job, and it was, it's dangerous. But at the same time, you got to go through and check and double check and triple check that you covering yourself. Which. You're doing it for everyone else's safety, but, like, you're ultimately, everyone's safety is priority, but you don't want to cause an issue, so it's like, I look at it, like, on that aspect of, like, for you personally, like, not you, but, like, a police officer, you got to respond in a way that doesn't jeopardize you either, like, and carry out that scenario to the fullest without doing anything wrong. Or for a young guy that's getting out there, that's what I think about, is, like, you don't want to do the wrong thing, Like,
especially now, I think, with a lot that's in the news and everything like that, you have people that, I don't want to say second guess, like, oh, should I do this or that? Like, but there is, especially for people that are just coming into the job, there is a bit of a hesitancy with it, because people don't want to be the front news of CNN for doing their job.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's scary.
It can be, but look at it this way. If the decision that you make is based upon good information, the best information that you had available at the time, reasonableness, which is a lot, there's a lot of case law out there that is based upon, okay, was this objectively reasonable? Was this, if a lay person looking from the outside were to look at this, or even somebody that has law enforcement experience, looking at the situation, knowing what you knew at that time, was this the right thing to do? 9 times out of 10, you're fine. So many of those, a lot of those things that end up in the news, like, it's a flash in the pan, because it's like, oh, this wasn't a big deal, because, and I'm not to downplay a situation, but okay, he or she did what they were supposed to do. It's very unfortunate, the outcome, depending on what that might have been, but it's something that was objectively reasonable at the time. Now, the ones that last a while, like, and I'm not to throw out any cases or names or anything like that, but if you think about it for 2 seconds, you can probably have a few of them that come to your mind.
Oh, yeah.
Those legitimately, something went wrong, and the very incorrect thing was done. by all means, have at it. There's never an officer or a police officer doing their job isn't a big story. Somebody not doing their job or dereliction of duty or doing the improper thing, that's where the story is. And those are the ones that actually last.
Yeah.
An officer that did the quote unquote right thing, whether it be unfortunate or not, depending on the situation, that's usually not a big story because it is what it is. And it's a crass way to put it, but that's oftentimes what it is.
Yeah. The thing I think about is like when I was 22, even now I'm not perfect, but like I think about younger Ben and how I reacted to things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're a little more hot-headed, or it takes a while to really grasp kind of like who you are and what's going on in your brain. So it's like, do you get better with time too? With different situations teach you different things over time. I imagine it's how it is, but and there's got to be not a grace period, but like I just look at it as like, you might be making more hardcore rash decisions if you're like younger because you're more fired up and like you just got this awesome authority. It's like, I don't know, there's got to be some thing over time that kind of just mellows out and like, you kind of find yourself, and understand what you're doing, I guess.
The awe of it, as in like, oh man, like I have this power vested in me. It's something that's always present with you. But to say that you get used to it is, for lack of a better term, you acclimate to it. You understand the awesome responsibility that you have, and the power that has been invested in you by the state of Maryland and the ordinance in which you serve. The jurisdiction in which you serve. But it's when it comes to different situations, you absolutely do learn that there's a good way, there's a better way, and sometimes there's just the way that you got to deal with things. And I know, like, when I first was starting off, like, I'm like, okay, well, I got to do A, B, and C before I do D. And then you're like, okay, well, I know I don't have to look this up. I know this now, so I can now skip A. I know what I'm doing now, B, C, and D. And then over time, a lot of the situations that you come into are like different players, same game. Mm-hmm. And you know how it's supposed to go. And okay, well, this guy's drunk. He's doing this. He's doing that. I now have a couple of decisions that I got to make. And then based upon your decision, your experience with dealing with this kind of situation over and over again, and then looking at, okay, well, it's 3 a.m. He did this, he did that. He's 18, he's 19, he's never done anything before, or like he's 63, or he's 45 and a constant problem. All of that really kind of comes into your decision as well. I'm a big fan of, I don't think everybody needs to go to jail. I've said that from day one, and I still believe it. 90% of my citations, or like my stops, like where a citation could be written, are warnings, because I'm probably never going to see this person again. They oftentimes have a very clean driving history. Hey, look, we all make mistakes. That's why pencils got erasers. Do me a favor, pretty please, sugar on top. Don't do it again. Here's your warning. Thank you so much. Then they're never a problem again.
That's pretty rare, I think. Well, I mean, I guess I say that. I don't mean that. Well, I guess I don't know what I mean. I've actually had some really nice cops overall. I think maybe our area is just a very same scenario. Like, they're just probably all the same. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. There's a little part of me that every now and then I'm like, oh, they're out to get you, Like, but I know that that's not true. But
I'd say the resounding majority of police that you meet think very similar to me. They're like, hey, look, I get it. It's not a big deal, or it's something that I could absolutely take you to jail right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to write you a citation. You're going to have to come answer for it. Mm-hmm. But I'm not taking you to jail tonight.
Yeah, that's nice to know.
And oftentimes that's what happens. Especially, like, we've had a couple law changes where you can't just lock somebody up for this. There has to be certain criteria met, and I agree with that. Mm-hmm. Okay, it bogs down the system with the jail and everything like that. Just locking up everybody that has a violation, that's a ridiculous way to do it. Yeah. Simply addressing a lot of it. Just once people know that, like some troublemakers see that they are aware that you see them, they kind of stop because okay, I've drawn unwanted attention to myself from the people that I didn't want to draw attention from. So now I'm going to just kind of chill out.
Yeah, a little slap on the hands.
Yeah, we'll slap on the wrist. Not literally, in case anybody's listening to that we don't literally slap somebody on the wrist, but it's you address the behavior and make it very clear. Hey, look, that's it, and that's all. If it happens again, we're gonna ramp this up.
Yeah, that's nice.
And that's usually the end of it.
It's nice to know that.
Yeah, but then you got the 10% that are like, yeah, I'm gonna try it again, and then they find out.
Yeah.
That then there are guests for the evening or something, or they get a citation or something along those lines. But
our guests for the evening. Yeah, I don't know. I have limited run-ins, but when I do, it seems like everyone's pretty calm. I mean, I conduct myself well, just like I know how you would probably want somebody to, conduct a traffic stop. Hey, here's my stuff. Here's my information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was speeding, or I didn't have a seatbelt on. Whatever. I'll take whatever you're going to give me. Come on back.
Yeah.
And usually it's pretty cool. There's, hey, I know you're used to your little Jeep on the farm, but just put your seatbelt on or whatever. So
yeah,
I've been fortunate enough to have some decent, run-ins. If
our area is great with that. Like a lot of the officers around here have that same kind of mentality of like, hey man, just do me a favor. Like, next time, ba.
Yeah, I think too. Even just down our road or certain areas where people get accustomed to taking back roads and going a little too fast. It's nice to know that it's nice every now and then. It's got to be for the people that live there too. That people are watching out, going a little more cautious. But that was the situation for me. Was I got pulled over going too fast in an area that's been called out. The traffic is getting a little too comfortable for the area, and they sat out there and just remind people, hey. I know it's back roads and stuff, but there's still people that live out here. Just we're patrolling just to be courteous, but also to keep everyone safe that live around the area. So slow down.
Yeah.
So that was nice. But I think that when I get into a situation like that, it's heightened. I'm nervous, but at the same time, I'm like, well, it's not a huge deal. I'm not doing anything super bad. Just conduct yourself, give your information. But one of the things that I did for this situation in particular is I pulled off way off the road. Like I found a driveway and I went down because it's a 2-lane road anyhow. And I went down a little bit further because I knew he had to turn around and I had plenty of time to not look like I was running away.
You got you.
That I pulled off significantly onto like a driveway and it was like a construction access or something and very much appreciated, to get us off the road to keep everyone safe. So
That's one of the most courteous things. As long as it's not like, oh well, just a mile down the road, I'm going to pull over. As long as it's readily quick and you're taking care to, hey, I'm putting us both out of this situation. It's highly appreciative. Yeah, like when people do that.
When say I've seen a couple people pulled over in like a turn lane, like say just Ocean City for example. Me personally, I would try to be like, hey, I don't feel comfortable right here. Mind if we go to that parking lot over there? Or do you normally ask? Or how does that work to keep everyone...
Like if somebody goes like into like the left-hand turn lane, like in the middle of the highway, I get it. They're like, let me pull over real quick.
I was going to say they panic.
Yeah, they're like, oh, crap, the officer, I got it, pulled over. And I'll come up, I'm like, hey, kid, let me get your license registration, pulled you over for this. Do me a favor. When the light turns, I want you to pull into the 100 block or the 10 block. Okay. Just so we're out of the way. And okay, cool, no
Perfect.
problem.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Now, sometimes if, they happen to be intoxicated, you're like, all right, I'm running a risk now of I now told you to drive. I might have to just kind of keep it where it is.
Okay.
Because, if let's say they ran the light and they're drunk, I told them to drive. You run into like a little bit of a quagmire. So it really kind of, like any of them, case-by-case basis. So you're like, all right, we're just going to keep it right here.
That makes sense. That's not even a consideration I thought about.
Like in the middle of January, and they pull over like it's 2 a.m, 3 a.m. When the place is vacant. Okay, we probably just stay right where we are. There's no belief that there's going to be a rogue car that comes out of nowhere.
That makes sense.
So
I just see people in these weird positions, like on 2-lane roads or an intersection. I'm like, man, they just panic and stop. And it I get it from all angles. It just blows my mind. Like, I'm the type, I'd probably like wave out the window, like, hey, I know I'm getting pulled over personally, and I'm going to find a safe spot just because I don't want to put you in jeopardy either, you know? Or, you know, you got these people on phones, or they're distracted, or kids screaming in the back, and, you know, something happens, which is crazy. Not that I want to transition to it, but yesterday was 3 major wrecks in our area. Like, did you hear about that?
I heard about that. Yeah,
That's chaos, dude. I mean, I know it's Friday, whatever, things are going on, but it's like, dang, these guys are out there just busy as heck. It's
back to school, man. Everybody's going nuts right now.
Yeah, but I don't know. Just emphasis on the safety. I think I overlook it because it's just like, oh, I'm gonna get my car and go to Home Depot. You know, I don't think about it. It's a normal day to me.
Yeah,
but it can turn, you know, bad quickly in just a blink of an eye. So
there's a couple ways that I've heard the job of police officer described to me. One of which was hours of boredom interrupted by moments of complete chaos. And yeah, well, 100%. Sometimes it's like that because there'll be days where you're like, because nothing's happening, or it's just like, you know, there might be two or three of you working, and you're like, okay, I can't get too bogged down with a lot of stuff right now because we have these many people in town, and I need to focus on staying available. And then something happens, and you're like, good Lord, it's going to take all 3 of us plus probably another like county officer coming in to help with something. And it's happened before, but you really shouldn't be thinking like, okay, well, the big one's on its way. But it's good to have that, like, just the readiness of it, of like, hey, if it does happen, I know what I got to do, and in case things pop off.
Yeah,
so.
that makes sense. You're also a polygraphist.
Yes,
Did I say that right?
Yeah, polygraph operator. It's the easiest way to say it. Like polygraphist. I've heard polygraphist. Bunch of different ways. Just I operate a polygraph.
Yeah, I like to make up ridiculous names, dude. You should come up with something like
You're the lag guy, right?
Director of Polygraph Operations or something. I don't know, just some ridiculous thing. I love that. But what's that like?
That is a lot of fun. I like doing it. It can be a little bit stressful because, you know, you're feeling some of the stress coming off of this person that you're testing. But ultimately, I found it to be a lot of fun, very interesting. There's a lot of psychological aspects to it, which I really do enjoy. The interview, the quote unquote interrogation of it part. The test of it actually is the shortest part of administering the polygraph. Like in movies, they show you a guy sitting in a chair, all the wires hooked up to what is clearly not a polygraph in the movie, and it's like hours that they're sitting there doing. It's a polygraph's about 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, it's very, very short.
Wow. So it's like it's like prepping a wall for paint. Like all of it is in the taping and the masking and all of the junk before you even apply the paint.
That is a fantastic way to compare that because I got to put up the tape. I got to make sure all the measurements are done. I got to make sure that this is mixed correctly. The shortest part is actually doing the damn paint job itself, and then waiting for it to dry to see how it went.
That's wild. I didn't know about that because you only ever see it in the movies. It's not like they're not portraying polygraph tests for the public to see. You know, most people don't. I don't even think it exists half the time. I forget. You know. So what got you into it, or like, so I want to ask what got you into it, and then like, what kind of training does one need? So I know it's a lot of questions, but I just don't want to forget. So
no, I got interested in it because I did want to explore more of the criminal aspect of investigation, and a spot opened up with our department. We had one guy that was doing them already, and he needed help because we were not only doing them for criminal tests, but we were doing them from the hiring as well because we had seasonal officers and full-time officers.
Gotcha.
And the laws changed where they had to be polygraphed. So this is now like all of a sudden we went from like 8 maybe 9 polygraphs a year that we had to do to all of a sudden 400. So like we got busy.
That's a full-time job. I mean, that's a full-time job.
I ended up being there would be 3 months out of the year where I was pulled off the road and that's all I was doing. Wow. Was like two polygraphs a day because they really don't want you doing more than 2 because you'll get burnt out. But I was interested in it and put in for it, got the job, and I was sent off to Fort Indiantown Gap, Army base in Pennsylvania for, it was 3 months on base, 6 days a week. And conducting polygraphs, learning how it works. Specialized in interview techniques, interrogation, psychology, physiology, learning the different systems of the body, how all that works. Because it all plays into how the actual instrument works, how the entirety from the second they sit down to the second they get up and leave, there's something that's being done the entirety of that time. And it could be anywhere from an hour and a half. I had one that went 7.5 hours. We had a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
And it was a background test, a background examination I was doing. It wasn't like I was sitting there grilling this person. It was just they had a lot on their mind. Some things had gone on in their life, and I had to test him and interview him about it. And it just took a while because a lot had happened to this person. So it all depends on what kind of test you're running and who the person is, because the simplest tests are always the ones where it's, okay, did you, like the specific issue, the criminal tests, did you rob that bank? You know that if you robbed the bank or not. It's a very, very simple test. But the background tests are always a little bit harder for employment, because I'm essentially, I got a 23-year-old sitting there with me, I'm essentially asking you about the last probably 15 years of your life. You're not going to remember everything. So a lot of people second guess. A lot of people are like, well, is that this or this, that? I try to break it down as simply as I can for them over the what's called the pre-test interview. I explain exactly how the process works, what it is that I'm looking at, how the instrument works. I explain all the things I'm going to be hooking up to them. There's a bunch of forms that we go over just so that they're fully informed of what's happening. They agree that they're not going to try to cheat. Some of them do, most of them don't, but some of them try to get away with it. Then we go over background, like we have a little packet that we send to them. It's a lot of yes or no questions. Basically, I'm not looking to find out anything new. This is already trying to confirm everything they've already told the other half of training.
Okay. It's just confirmation.
Yeah, pretty much this is confirmation.
Just be as honest as you can in the paperwork.
Yep.
And then hopefully we're gonna just blow through these and just confirm everything.
Yep. I tell them I'm not looking to find out any new information. That being said, if there is something that's on your mind, or you think that there's a correction that we got to make, now is the time to bring it up, because it looks bad if you take the test, you don't do well, and then there's other stuff that we still have to talk about because you didn't bring it up before. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be something dumb. And I say that as in, like, it's something something very minuscule. It's like, well, I didn't know if it was if I had smoked pot like 10 or 11 times. Okay, that shouldn't be interfering with you. Okay, that's why I asked you before, is there anything else that might be bothering you? If 10 or 11 is the big deal, okay, great. Do you know it's less than 15? Yeah. Okay, then we're going to stick with that answer, because I want you to be 100% confident in the answers that you provide. We take the test, and then we go over the results. If the results are fine, or I don't see any problems, we move on. If there is something that's kind of cropping up, like something that might be an issue, we're going to go into further discussion about it. Some people have something to say. I think it was 67% of people out there have that one secret that they are never ever going to tell anybody, despite like me coming up with a laptop that has a video of them doing whatever it is. They can be like, that's not me. Like, they will never ever admit to it, even in the face of blatant evidence. And that's fine. But for the resounding part of it is that minuscule thing. They're like, I didn't know if it was this or that, or like, yeah, I'm just really embarrassed about this thing. No problem. I'm not going to discuss it with anybody else. I just need to know what it is, so this way, when I do this test, I know how to phrase my questions correctly.
That makes
and
sense.
Also, they're not thinking about it anymore.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You
seem like the perfect person for that position. Like, you're super calm and collected, and your personality, to me, speaks that. Like, have you always been like that?
I've always been pretty calm. When I was younger, I was very, I guess rambunctious would be a good word for it. I was the class clown. I like to have a good time. I like to have fun. I make jokes. It's not that I don't take things seriously, but my philosophy on it is, if we're going to be miserable and we're going to have a bad time, then what's the point of it? I like to have fun, and I think that you should try to spread some of that. If like I'm at work, I try to be a happy, jovial kind of guy. Given the situation, I'm not going to be jovial on a lot of things, but like if we're all there and like roll call, like we're hanging out, I'll crack a joke, get a couple of laughs, fantastic. We move on. I think that that's I think that that is an important aspect to it, because if you're 100% serious 100% of the time, it ages you like terribly. Like I know guys, I've worked with guys, and they are just, there is no cracking of a smile. That's just straight faced, and that's how they operate. Good. They are a drag to be around at times, and not necessarily just in police work, just in life. And I've known many people in many walks of life, and I'm like, they're a nice person, but man, they are boring to be around. Like, they are just not fun. Just to talk to them, you're like, okay, all right. But it's I think it's so important because of part of it's the mental health of it. If you got to enjoy what you're doing. If you're not enjoying it, then you're probably not doing the right thing. If you are enjoying it and you're having fun with it, you're probably in a good position. You could have what some people consider a crappy job, or be doing crappy, like the Mike Rowe show, like
Dirty Jobs.
Dirty Jobs. I was about to say crappy
Love
jobs.
that stuff.
You see some of these guys, they're making the best of the situation that they're in. Now, I've been very lucky having the job that I have. I love what I do. I enjoy it immensely. But what's the harm of adding some levity to it? Like, what's the harm of adding some humor or fun to it, like in appropriate situations? Granted, there are things that you're like, okay, you shouldn't be joking around this kind of thing, but have fun with it.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that like I should like be doing like the TikTok cop stuff, because I'd rather be working as opposed to making a video while I'm working. But it's just have fun with it.
Well, it's nice to know there's an upside to it, because it seems like it's well, it's just what media portrays too. You know, I get that too. You got to kind of see through that and take it, chew up the meat, spit out the bones type thing, like Dallas says. But it's nice though that you do find enjoyment. I'm not saying I wouldn't. I probably like it too, but there's a lot of upsides and a lot of probably downsides too. But
that's with any job that you.
I know.
Do,
I get it.
Like you said, you're working for the gas company.
Yeah.
What did you do for the gas company?
So I worked as a meter tech.
Okay, right.
I was working for an engineering company, and I hurt myself, and I kind of put together a plan to start the business, and I needed some more flexibility. So I took a job where I could have a little more time to think, and it was way less on the road time and all that. So I was like, well, still in my wheelhouse. So I took a job for the gas company, just doing meter readings and checking things and turning gas on and off and plumbing and all that stuff. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it was very intense though, because you're dealing with natural gas or propane.
Yeah, you got to kind of be on the ball with that.
Yeah. So I mean, it was give and take, but that was probably, it was a good experience for me, because I wasn't a public person, but like, you're dealing with the public on behalf of the gas company, which is a utility. So it opened my eyes on a lot of things, actually. I'm glad I took that job, but not nearly severe as yours, being that's what you're doing every day is usually, I don't know. I think about it and I say usually, but I have to believe, like you said, you like it. So it can't be chaos all the time. So
No.
But yeah, I mean, and for the gas company in that aspect, it was like you said, some chaos, but most of the days was just chilling, so that's I guess it kind of goes hand in hand. But your personality though for the job, I'm all airy and light and like too much talking probably, and like I don't know, different personality type, but like yours for your job is perfect, just outsider looking in. So with the polygraph thing, is pretty serious too, I think. I mean, I know you can joke and stuff, but I don't know, I just look at it both angles, where it's, you got to keep everyone calm too, and I don't know anything about it, but it seems like you're the perfect person for that job. So
I like my wife would always like with the amount of like horsing around that I do, and like she'd be. It's funny because like when I'm with friends and that, I am not the cop. I am not the polygraph operator. When I'm at work and I'm actually in work mode, like there's a seriousness to it. Like there is, you have the air of like that confidence of like, hey, look, I got this, I got you, etc. It is almost a night and day kind of situation. which I think is that I think it's good that there is that separation. Okay, now it's good to bring it one over to the other depending on what you're doing or the situation that you're at. That's where the levity comes in, or like being serious at home, like whatever it might be. But I know when I see people outside of work that are friends, or like they're like, yeah, like you're a little bit different outside of the job, and then I see people that I know in my personal life, and I see them at work, and they kind of laugh, and they're kind of like, I don't see you as this because of how I am. Just like you don't strike me as a police officer, you don't strike me as a cop, and I'm like, oh, well, I appreciate that because I like having that separation of it. I like people will, like when they find out like that I'm a polygraph operator, they will like, oh, like so, like, oh, like what, how would you do this or that, like that kind of thing, and I'm like, all right, well, and then I'll slip into like I get a lot, I get the radio voice kind of going, and I'm like, all right, well, like why do you think that? Like and they're like, well, I don't know. I'm like, why don't you know? And they go, stop that. And I'm like, stop what? I'm like, yeah, there's a different, not person, but like there's a different element that I'll slip into to kind of fit the mold for that. Because if I walked in like, hey, what's going? Like, it's not going to work. Yeah. But with every test that I do, I ask them like, how you feeling? And they go, I'm really nervous. And I said, good. That lets me know that your brain's working correctly. Because if you weren't nervous, that'd be extremely weird to me. And you touched on it before, like it from movies, television, that kind of thing. I'm like, I say to them, I either ask them what they know about the polygraph, and it's like very little, or what I saw on this movie, internet, television, whatever. I say, I'm like, that's where a lot of people's knowledge starts and stops at it. I'm going to tell you right now, I've been doing this a while. I have never seen a movie that got it correct. Like it doesn't, because they're actually very boring to look at it. The only interested parties in a polygraph, the ones that are invested in it, are the person taking the exam and the person administering the exam. Everybody else, even people that are watching it that might be at the station that are watching the test, are just like, oh, like this is boring, because it's an interview. And unless a lot of really crazy stuff comes out in the interview, it's not going to be that exciting. Now, when it comes to the aftermath of it, the interrogation part of it, when you're trying to actually get the information that they lied on or that they're holding on to it, that can be a little bit more exciting. But the actual test itself is extremely boring.
Yeah, well, I imagine though, like you were saying, like on a good day, it's like you're not very busy.
Yeah.
So it's like it probably goes hand in hand. It's like nice. There wasn't anything in that one. It was easy, Yeah. So it's probably nice, I guess. But
yeah, they're like the pass fail ratio of it are almost in a dead heat, because like I said, a lot of the fails that come up are just like, yeah, like I was thinking about this because I didn't bring this up earlier. I'm like, okay, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not important at all. Okay, great. We're going to try this again, and I'm going to ask you a slightly different question now, knowing that you've told me about this. Here's the new question I'm going to ask you. How does that feel? That question actually, that feels good. Okay, great. We're going to try it with that, and I'll ask that question, and 9 times out of 10, it works fine.
Nice.
Every so often, that 1 out of 10, there's still more, and they're well,
go deeper down the hole.
Exactly.
Yeah. Then kind of like where to pick at, I guess.
Yeah. There's a wide range of like, because I don't ask about specific things. I'll ask, hey, did you lie about this area of like, have you ever like any kind of serious crime? And let's say they knock on serious crime. Okay, well then I'll have to break it down into these types of crimes, and then they might knock on this one, and then okay, cool, all right. Now I'm going deeper into it. Okay, this is where the issue is. What's going on here? And then we can actually start having an honest conversation about what's on their mind, as opposed to them kind of just shielding it off.
What type of people are you looking for when you're doing these polygraphs? Is it mostly criminals for like, you said that there was for future employees, but criminals, what would one have to do to need a polygraph? Or is it voluntary? Like they're like, no, I didn't do this. I need you to prove it. Is that type of thing happen?
That does happen. Well, first off, a polygraph has to be voluntary.
Okay.
I cannot force you to take one.
Okay.
So what it'll come down to is the person that's being interviewed will say, like, give me a polygraph. All right, no problem.
Oh, nice.
Or it might go along the lines of like, hey, look, if I asked you to take a polygraph, would you take one? Yeah, cool. All right, good. We have a guy right here. Great, bring him in. Like, and
Nice.
then it'll go from there.
Okay.
And as the type of people that various different types of people, like from blue collar workers to white collar jobs, and you have I've had people accused of thefts, people accused of sex crimes, wide gambit of them all. So it is, like, all different walks of life have come into that room, and all different types of crimes that people have been accused of.
Gotcha. So it's mostly an accusation type thing that brings them in.
This is one of those things where we may not know exactly what's going on. So, like, hey, look, did you or didn't you? Okay, great. Would you take a polygraph to confirm that? And then we kind of see where it goes from there. The people that didn't do something, they're the easiest. Oh man, look, that's
a good day.
That's a quick test. The guy the guy or girl that didn't do it, breeze through it. Great. The person that has something to do with it, that's a little bit more technical, and you gotta show a little bit of your artistic side with it. Of like, all right, okay, well, I'm gonna, like, one guy I remember, he was so embarrassed by what had happened. I was like, all right, I'm not going to test you on, like, what they want to know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have you fill out this witness statement. You're going to tell me on the witness statement exactly what happened from this time until the moment that you came and talked to me. Okay. Be honest on this, because then I'm going to test you. Did you lie to me in this witness statement? Okay. I'm like, all right. Any questions about that? No. Okay, great. He starts writing. And then he goes like, I lied already. I lied. I was like, all right, cool. Let's work with this. All right. What'd you lie about? And he explained it. I was like, all right, cool. We're going to do this again. Here's a new sheet of paper. Fill this out, write, and I gave him the instructions again. And I'm like, and be 100% honest about me. And be detailed. He's like, okay. Writes it out. And it's bad, like what he wrote. But I knew that if I tested him on it, he was not going to do well with it, simply because of how, I guess, emotionally damaging a lot of it was, like from a psychological standpoint. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to test you on the written statement. Did you lie to me on the statement? Is basically what I asked him, and then he did fine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm like, great,
that's cool,
perfect. And it's a lot of it is just trying to figure out, because, and I was touching on it before, like when somebody comes in. You're already nervous. I have to do nothing on the earth to make you more nervous.
Yeah.
Okay. And why would I do that? Because it's gonna affect things down the line, and also, like, you being able to trust me. I'm not gonna go blabbing about what you did and what you said. I just need you to be 100% honest with me, because my job at the end of the day is an unbiased seeker of the truth, which is what I've heard some other professional polygraph operators refer to it as, which is a very, very fancy way of saying I don't care. And it's not to say that I don't care that you've done something, that something was done to you. I mean, that whatever we talk about, I don't care what it is, as long as you're truthful with me about it, because that's the only thing that I'm after.
That makes sense.
You could have done the absolute worst thing or had the most mundane, boring life. I don't care. I just want you to answer these questions truthfully. That's all that I'm after.
Yeah. I forget how, like, big the police force is.
It's 115 right now.
Yeah, but I mean, just far as, like, you have the polygraphs, and there are so many other things that I don't even know about, but, like, it's an undercover job type thing to me. I don't think about it. I think about, like, a cop and a detective and stuff like that, but, like, our area is pretty big for big crime, which is kind of crazy to me. I don't think about that. It's not really public, but you guys deal with a lot of stuff.
This county in general does a great job handling a lot of the stuff that comes in here. We got 113, Route 113 coming through Virginia, so, like, there's always crap coming through there. Our county officers do a fantastic job of that. Ocean City, even though it is a quote-unquote tourist destination, criminals go on vacation too. So, like, and that was told to me years ago when I first started, because we were dealing with something with the U.S. Marshals, an escaped convict had come to the Ocean City area. Wow. And And I remember my lieutenant at the time was like, criminals go on vacation too. And I was like, oh, I
Makes sense.
never would have thought of it that way. But we do a great job of it. We try to nip things right in the bud so that it doesn't escalate into something worse. You have like a lot of thoughts on that, like the broken windows theory of like handle the little things so this way they don't grow into the big things, and then you don't end up with a crime-ridden like Chicago-esque type of situation. Like, we are very fortunate. We have people in the area that, one, like, do a good job of policing themselves, and that they know what's right and what's wrong. We have people that are very supportive of law enforcement in this area. And we have just overall, we have people that really want to do the job and want to do it correctly. And I know it always sounds biased, like when I talk about Ocean City, like I put our guys against pretty much most of, if not any, other law enforcement agency in terms of like knowledge, professionalism, and on the job, tactics, skills, you name it.
Well, it seems like they're exposed to everything. I mean, these guys are trained professionals in every situation. So it's so diverse. Like, they have every machine, every equipment that everyone else has. Like.
Yeah, we got.
Like,
we're very like, we got drones now.
Yeah, so I'm saying, like, I would put them up against the best too, because they see so many things. It's like they're exposed to everything everyone else is too, but it's all in one area.
Yep, it's not something like where we're breaking out the drone every day or something like that. Right. But like, our guys keep up with training, like our QRT team or SWAT team, depending on what you want to call it. But we call it the QRT team. These guys train, they know what they're doing. They're not a full-time team like you might have in some bigger metropolitan areas, but when the call comes, there you go. These guys know what they're doing. Like, I'm on the negotiator team. I get to see these guys work. They're very professional.
Really? Yeah. You're a negotiator too?
I am, yeah.
No way. Yeah. Another undercover job, dude.
So one of those things you don't think about.
Well, that makes sense though, because you're calm and cool, collected. Like, I try to be. I mean, I can see it now. So that's cool. What's that like?
It's pretty fun. It's just talking with somebody. Like some people that I've seen that try to teach the subject, they get really bogged down with a lot of the minutia of it. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a lot that goes into it with psychology and that, but 90% of it is just talking to the person. If you're keeping them talking, they're not doing something bad. Okay, like let's say a guy that wants to commit suicide or something like that. If he's talking to you, he's not doing that. Just keep them talking.
Gotcha.
Sometimes you got to wear him down. It might be a situation where you have to convince somebody to do something that is counterintuitive to what they want to do. They might be in the middle of a psychological break, whatever it might be. But there is the aspect of having that psychological background and being able to focus on certain things. But what a lot of people don't realize is that you have a whole team behind you that are working on information. That are you have your main negotiator, who is the only person that talks to the guy. Nobody else talks to this person. Then you have a coach. The coach is the only person that talks to the main negotiator. Nobody else is going, hey, by the way, they're talking to the coach. The coach is the only person that will be passing information on to that person. And then after the coach, you have a scribe, you have runners for information, you have a whole team that's working with you just for this person that's on the line with the person. It can be very nerve-wracking. I know, like, we had a situation a few months ago where I don't know, I can't go too much into it, but we had, like, I was one of the informational guys, and I was running stuff on cell phones. I was trying to get information for this particular person while our one guy was having a face-to-face conversation with a guy that was in the middle of a mental crisis.
Wow.
And it was one of those situations. You were put into nothing but bad. There was no positive of like the position that we were in, or rather that he was in with this guy. The environment was terrible because there were just rooms all around us. We couldn't like evacuate anybody. We just had to go by the seat of our pants. But with all the support that we had, all the information, we were able to come to a positive resolution for it and try to get the guy the help that he needs. But it's something that people don't think about. Like whenever you see in the movies and that, the negotiator, all you see is the negotiator.
Right.
the answer, the people on the periphery. Like, you ever see The Negotiator with Sam Jackson and Kevin Spacey?
I feel like I have.
Yeah.
I can't remember it vividly.
You can't talk me down, like that movie, like where Sam Jackson takes the police station hostage as a police officer.
Okay.
It was a great movie. But there's a scene where Kevin Spacey comes in. He's the negotiator. He's on the line, and every so often he gets handed a piece of paper. You don't even really notice it, okay? But it's got information on it that he's trying to use, or this, that, and the other. He's in the middle of an operations center where there are people on radios, people on phones, people trying to get. You don't even notice that they're going on because you're just focused on Spacey and the conversation that he's having with Jackson. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of how it is to a certain aspect. You are just focused on that's all you think about. From people that don't know. All those other people that are there, they're trying to get intel. They're trying to get information. They might be listening to the call, like, okay, he mentioned this name or he mentioned this thing. I'm going to have somebody go research this.
Wow.
Because it might be important. It might not be, but you got to follow up on it and make sure that it is something. There is a whole different aspect to it. Like, and then in conjunction with the negotiators, you have the SWAT or the QRT team that's also like might be surrounding the house. That might be setting up to make an entry or deliver a phone to the person. All different moving parts that people don't think about, but that are happening behind the scenes.
I don't think about any of that. I don't think about any of that on a daily basis. Just all of it opens my eyes to like, man, I'm so thankful that our area has that type of thing. You know? I know it doesn't happen every day, but it's nice to know that they exist.
We have one. Worcester County has one. And then as you start going farther west, like Wicomico County, like all the different counties have at least a couple guys that are negotiators. And then let's say like Worcester County has something go on and they only have 2. They can call us up and we'll go assist them. Mm-hmm. And we'll be the information runners. We might be the coach. Like it really depends.
Yeah, and you're exposed to it, so your experience level is probably pretty high with like you're a negotiator, so you know what the runner should be doing or the information that, you know is usable, I guess. That's cool.
Yeah, all the intel guys, the scribe, and like you start filling in the positions as you get there. Like, okay, I'm going to document this, or like, okay, hey, do me a favor, go do this, and then this will be your job, and I need you to do this. And the coach, I think, is other than obviously the negotiator doing the actual talk with the subject, the coach is such a extreme position because you're not only responsible for the negotiator and the information that they receive, but you're directing everybody else as to like what is to be done. Hey, I need this. Hey, I need that. And then and then that could change too, because then it could just be the coach is just getting information and passing it on, and then there might be some, depending on the setup that you're in, there could be somebody else that's actually the operations person that's actually like directing everybody else as to what to do. It depends on how many people you have, because if you only got 3 or 4, you got to make with what you have. But if you have a whole team working of 7, you can actually dial in and be more focused on what the coach and the negotiator are doing.
That's so wild, man. I can't. I'm gonna have to. I know I was gonna ask you, but it's too broad of a question. There's so many undercover jobs within the police department, or the detectives and the sheriffs and all that stuff. It's mind blowing. I had Rob on here, and he was a DNR officer, and he was explaining. He responded to the Key Bridge when that boat hit it, that they didn't know it was a terrorist attack, and I'm like, dude, I just thought it was an accident. You know, that's where a citizen brain comes in. I'm like, naive, whatever. Yeah. But like, you know, it could be. And then you got to respond in that aspect. It's like, I don't know. I take so many things for granted that it's kind of crazy. So
you would. I think 99% of the people watching that were like, oh, terrible accident. But like people that have that experience of this could be way above what you think it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm just glad that there's people out there that respond to that stuff, like negotiators and, you know, all the things that we have at our disposal, I guess. That's cool. I don't think about it, but our area does support that type of thing because it's so big.
It really does.
It's big and it's small. That's what's crazy to me. Is it's so big. When there's 3,000 or 4,000 people here for an event or a summer, but then it gets back to like super small. It's like it's kind of hard to see how it's managed because like if you're a business and it's super busy for 3 months out of the year and all of a sudden there's nothing. Yeah. It's like, how do you keep up on that? Or how do you keep up on the training and stuff? So there's so many little moving parts that goes in between all of the little things. So, and I think about it. And our area even has the mounted police, which is something that I know other areas do too. I don't know exactly who, but that's super, super cool that our area supports that type of thing too.
Yeah,
So,
the mounted team is awesome.
yeah. And at first, I see the horses out there, for me personally, and I'm like, man, that's cool. It's a use of force. You know, the horses are big and mean, and not mean, but they're actually super nice. But
Yeah.
they show their presence, like they're tough. But I thought it was like a novelty thing. You know, I thought they were just for parades and things like that until I get to, you know, they actually boarded here at the farm.
Yeah.
And I got to know all the officers, and I'm like, man, these guys are talented dudes to go out there and use these horses and corral crowds and make sure that things work. You know, it all goes hand in hand. So I think it's
When I was on the mounted unit for a little while, and before it was actually housed here, it was going with what you said. There's a lot of it that you just don't think about. You're like, I'm like, oh, this would be kind of fun. But then like you get into crowd control, you get into actual police equitation of like, okay, what do I do if I got to handcuff somebody? Like, what do I got to do in this situation? Like there's all these different things that you didn't think about. You're just like, oh, sit on a saddle, forward, backwards, food goes in there, comes out there. Like it was very rudimentary. And then I started getting into it. I'm like, oh wow, there's a lot that I actually didn't realize that went into this. And there was a point where it seemed like there was a turn for the mounted unit, because at least for me, because I remember looking at it thinking like, oh, okay, this could be fun. It could be challenging. I'd never ridden a horse at the time, and I had seen what it had been like early, like in my career, but then more of the crowd control stuff started coming into play, as opposed to like when I first started, there was like one mounted officer, and not a whole lot was happening for the need of just one to go to a crowd. Like in the middle of the summer, yeah, he would go and help. But then like all of a sudden now you got 4 Percheron crosses that are gigantic animals, as opposed to 1 quarter horse, and 3 or 4 like big dudes on these horses. Like, okay, business is now taking place. And it was astounding to see like just how like 1 horse could do the job of like 10 or 15 officers in holding crowds back or like clearing out places, just by the sheer 1 presence, and 2 being able to just kind of sidestep and maybe push some people back depending on what was happening. When I first had to get in the middle of something with it, I was like, oh wow, like this is there was practice, and then there was the actual real life implementation of it.
yeah.
And it was amazing to actually be a part of that. It was really cool.
Yeah, I love that. It's so many moving parts that makes up this thing, and I'm gonna have to dive deeper and see what other undercover jobs is within like the police department and stuff. I think that's so cool to know, and just the negotiating thing. I didn't even know about that. That is super cool.
When the mounted team was here, I just know from me being on it, like there were nights that we were getting back like 2-3 in the morning. How was that living here? Like, did you guys notice it?
Nah,
like, okay, all right.
Nah, they stayed to themselves, man. They're super quiet. We see the trucks here and there, but yeah, for the most part. And heck, at that point, I was usually out because they were out during like the events and stuff. I'm out there seeing them and saying hi to them and hanging out. So
Gotcha.
It was cool. I miss them. It was cool to see them on a daily basis, and you know, just know that our area. There was one issue we had when a horse it got a little overzealous and it stepped inside of that hay hut, and you know, we actually had to sawzall the hay hut around the horse. You know what I mean? I'm holding this sawzall with this blade, and you know, but they were there, and it's three of them, I think, and just knowing that they were there to help. They're trained in a lot of different areas, but they helped keep the horse calm, and we ended up working together and getting the horse out of there. But yeah, they were cool, man. I miss them, but and it exposed me to like some of the training they do, and how it's not just a novelty thing. Those horses are there to work. They're absolutely serious in what they do. So one time, do you remember Moose?
Yeah.
Yeah, Moose is a monster, and his freaking hooves were...
It was like a sewer plate.
Dude, it was insane, man. So one time I went over to the barn, and Jessica said, hey, check on this, and this, and make sure this is locked. So I run over there. It's the middle of the night, summertime, and I walk through, and I see Moose in his stall, and didn't think nothing of it. And something happened, or something fell or something, and I walked back by, and there's no horse in the stall. And I'm like, my eyes are deceiving me, dude. I know he was just there, and it's only a 12 by 12 or whatever, 14 by 14 stall. They're not super big. Maybe they're bigger. I don't know how big they are, but they're big enough for a horse to be in there comfortably.
Yeah.
And they have these Dutch doors on the side, you know that, and they got these two doors, double hung type thing, where the top opens and the bottom opens too.
Yeah.
And the top was open, but the bottom was closed. And I walk by, don't see the horse, and I was like, I better go just double check, man. So I walk around the side of the building, and he's standing outside of the barn, just grazing in the grass, and I'm like, he jumped through that little 4x4 opening or whatever, just mammoth animal. I don't know. It's just crazy that not only are they use of force and they're huge, but they're athletic too.
It's crazy how something that's that heavy and that cumbersome can move in some of the ways that it does.
Didn't crash the door. Didn't even make a sound. Didn't even make a noise.
Right through.
Up and over like a deer. Oh, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, they were a blast to have here, man.
What they're trained to do, I remember my old partner Tucker, the horse.
He was the man.
Yeah, I love Tucker. Tucker was. It was just like, I think, like a great example of what most horses can be trained to do. You could fire a gun by this thing, and you'd be like, "Cool, man. Was that a 9mm?" Like not one reaction, but a Mylar balloon or a bag in the wind, and it was like a sorcerer appeared in front of him and was shooting lightning at him. Like he did not know what to do with himself. We were riding down during a car cruise. This is probably 2010, 2011, something like that. And I hear like a little pop go off behind me. And Tucker like, like that, like, well, what was that? And I was, because wet also hit it as well. Somebody threw a full beer can at us.
Oh, wow.
It exploded under him. And we actually stepped out into traffic a little bit and almost got hit by like a 63 Chevelle. Like, I was like, wow. Would have been a lot of damage done to that Chevelle because this horse would have messed it up. But I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, and I turn around, like, there's just a group of like 100 people on the ground and like up on the balcony, and 99 of them all go and they all point at one guy.
Nice.
Because if it was just me, they wouldn't have done a thing, but it was the horse. They were like, that guy right there.
Nice.
And he was like, oh, when he tried to duck into a room, and I went and I got him.
Hell yeah.
But it's funny, like, people absolutely love the animals. People, and I, in a way, am kind of like that too. Like, I feel like something at work happens or something in the news happens to an animal, and I think a lot of it has to do with my wife and just and all that, just all the animals she keeps bringing home. But they don't know what's happening. Tucker doesn't know he's a police horse. He's like, what the hell was that? Like, he doesn't know what's going on. But it's, you feel worse for them because of that. There's that innocence about it. That them and little kids, that they don't get it.
Right.
So I think people are more inclined to be like, no. That guy right there. That guy right there.
I'm pumped they did that.
And people were kind of like, you need my name? I'll give you my name, and I'm like, well, we'll come back and talk. I don't need 99 names. I might need one or two.
That's awesome.
But it was funny just to see, like, one, how he reacted, and two, how the people around him reacted as well.
That's a whole nother layer of things that you don't even think about. Is like that horse has to be trained in all those aspects. You know what I mean? So they're exposed to people touching them and people doing stupid things and cars, noise, Harleys, whatever, you name it. They're exposed to it. So I don't know. It is a different dynamic to think about. Like when I think about the police force, that's not what I think about. You know? So I'm thankful that our area supports all of that together. And then, like I said, you had Rob on here as a DNR officer, and you have that aspect too. It's nice to know that there's people out there in that professional space doing the things they do. So what's one, like, how do you turn it off? Like if you're exposed to all this stuff every day, and I know it's not chaos all the time, but you're exposed to this thing and you get home, what's that like? Like what goes through your head? I know you're super calm and collected and you like your job, but I don't know.
There are absolutely some days where you just get home and you're like, man, like that was terrible. It is something where everybody needs that thing that kind of signifies of like, that's it, and that's done. As of right now, my little thing at the end of work, like I take my vest off, my belt, everything goes in my locker, and then we now have Velcro patches, and that I take those off, and on my little drive home is when I kind of like decompress. So this way, whatever, if there was something that was bothering me at work or something that did happen, that I don't want it to carry over. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it does, and and my wife can be like, "What happened? What's wrong?" And I let her in on why I'm feeling the way that I am. And I think that having a support system at home, like my wife is extremely understanding of why I would feel a certain way, or she's not blind to like, oh, it's all like puppy dogs and sunshine. Like there are some bad things happen, mm-hmm. and having that support system at home, having a routine of like, okay, I get home and now I take care of the pigs, or I take care of the ducks, I take care of the dogs, start getting dinner ready, that kind of like there are times where you're like, the same crap as usual. I got to do this, got to do that. But it is also nice having that routine about it, because it does give you something to do. It does allow you to decompress. It allows you to focus elsewhere. Having hobbies. Mm-hmm. I like to play guitar. I like to I love music. I love movies. I love really just kind of spending time with our dogs and my wife. Like if we like going out, and maybe we'll go grab a drink, we'll go out to eat or something like that. You got to have something outside of the actual job itself. If mm-hmm. you go home and you just keep your radio on and are just listening to that all day, every day, it starts to screw with you a little bit. That constant at the ready. Mm-hmm. Okay, I need to be like good to go for this. Now, there are times where you got to be on call. And I had a number of years where that was my jam. Like for a week out of the month or a couple of days here and there, I was on call. So you got to stick close to home. You got to be ready in case that something does happen. But you can't have it like months at a time where all you are is on call. You have to be able to decompress. You have to be able to go out and have some fun. Mm-hmm. If it was something where, and it's happened before, where like as a negotiator, like I'm not on call per se of like, okay, well, from Tuesday to Thursday, those are going to be your day. That's not how it works. It's like we have 7 or 8 people on our team. Hey, something happened. We need negotiators. Who's available? Mm-hmm. And then you might get all of us. You might get only 3 of us, depending on, like, some of us might be traveling. We might be out, like whatever mm-hmm. the situation is. But you can't have it where like, okay, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything for just months at a time. Right. I think a week is like our detectives do that. They're on call for a week. I think that's a pretty good time frame. Yeah. Okay, look, you got to be focused for this week and just make sure that you're available off duty for these things.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just curious because, I know my job is insignificant comparatively, but I just turn the lights off and I go home, and I just turn on, what's up, kids, blah, blah, blah. It's just a different dynamic for you where you got to like kind of turn that off and get your mind to kind of think about other things. But at the same time, you can't be too far away where you turn it off too much and then you can't jump back into it in a moment's notice too. So mm-hmm. It's like a delicate line there, I think.
It is. There is always a certain, like when you go out to restaurants, especially in the beginning, like, like having your back to the exit, yeah. You want to be able to see things. Like my wife to this day, she'll still get a giggle out of it because I'm still looking at things and I don't really notice that I'm doing it. It's just a natural habit now.
Yeah. I find myself doing that mm-hmm. accidentally,
It's good to be vigilant.
Uh-huh.
It's good to be prepared in the event that something were to happen, because that's the world that we live in. Sometimes things just happen at random, mm-hmm. But it's also important to just kind of go with the flow, I like that aspect of like that saying of like let the chips fall where they may, mm-hmm. which is a great way to live for I guess a couple of days. But and then at the then day 3 you're like, okay, well, I really got to pay the mortgage coming up. Like I really got to do these kind of things. Like you got responsibilities. Yeah. So it is a fine line to walk. But we get typically 2 to 3 days off a week. We work 10-hour days, and depending on what shift you work, I'm very fortunate. I work day shift, so I have somewhat of a normal schedule.
That's nice.
It's extremely nice. I remember working midnight shift, and you'd get off, like especially in the summer, you'd get off at 8 a.m. if you were lucky, and on your last day you'd go home and you'd get a couple hours of sleep because, I got my wife, I got other things that are going on. You'd sleep 2 or 3 hours, you'd wake up, try to act normal. And meanwhile, you're like, I just want to go back to bed. Like, I was called a zombie sometimes when we went out. Like, that sounds great.
Just
whatever
existing.
you want to do. And then the next day, you'd go in at 10 p.m. You really didn't get a whole day off, really. Like, technically you did, but you're completely wiped. Your sleep schedule's thrown off, and it's great. It's a young man's shift. I loved working it because like some wild stuff happened during those times because everybody's drunk and for some reason. But one of my lieutenants once said, "Nothing good ever happens after midnight." He was 100% correct. But it really is, to use the pun, it's night and day. Those shifts. Day shift is a lot more calm. It's a lot more routine. There's traffic going to work. There's the traffic coming home. Like it is what it is. You got your calls throughout the day. You got some normal things that you're dealing with. You got people on the beach. Got your EMS calls. Your normal run-of-the-mill kind of stuff. Every so often, there might be a 5-car pileup or calls that come in from stuff that happened the night before that you got to handle.
Yeah, remember the time the 50 bridge was locked up and didn't...
Which time?
Well, okay.
Yeah,
right.
it happened a couple of times. Yeah, I remember it happened on the 4th of July.
That's what I mean. That one.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
You gotta deal with all that and reverting traffic.
And it's like, all right, just take a lap.
Yeah.
Try back in an hour. We'll see.
That's crazy.
The 1 year, and I don't think that he kept his job long after this, but the bridge was up, and they were like, "Why is it up?" It's still up, and then they were calling up to the tender box there where the guy sits or girl, and they went and knocked on he was just asleep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the phone's ringing. He's just asleep in his chair. Oh, bing, 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 and then he lowered. It's like, are you kidding me? It's been up for 45 minutes. Yeah. It's not like he was even up. Like they even stay up that long. It's like, all right, it's up for like 6 minutes, and then it comes back down. I'm like, you fell into that deep of sleep in 6 minutes?
That's crazy. Yeah. Wow.
Oh,
There's
man.
all kinds of kinds, man.
Yeah.
So you touched on your hobbies for a second. You guys have a little, you guys have a nice little piece of heaven over there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's nice to see. What all things are you into on a personal side?
On a personal side, I do like I said, I like music. I like guitar. I used to be a huge movie guy. Like, you named a movie, I'm like, oh yeah, it was such and such, such and such. Like, and then there are still some times where I'll throw out a movie quote, and there might be 1 or 2 people that get it. That they're, oh yeah, that was from that was Guyver, and I'm like, Guyver with Mark Hamill. They're like, yeah, right after Corvette Summer. I'm like, yeah, you're the kind of guy we can talk to.
Hell yeah.
I know. Half the people that are listening to this are like, what the hell is he talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
But both were, but it was like those types of things. I just knew them. Like in college, I was watching a lot of those things, like B movies, and like I was a big fan of some real crappy horror movies. Like I loved Evil Dead. I loved anything by Sam Raimi. And as I got older and more full-time employed, a lot of that, you ain't got a whole lot of time to be doing that kind of stuff. So
unless you're staying up super late and you're stealing from tomorrow.
Exactly.
That's
yeah,
what I feel.
It's like, okay, I could go to bed now and I can get a solid 5, or I could watch.
Hey, let me ask you this: do you think though that movies have taken kind of a back seat to all these crazy shows that are like long movies now, like Ozarks and all that stuff? Like, you were a movie guy, so
yeah, I think
you
that
get immersed in like a TV show.
There, especially with when like Netflix or Amazon, when they do a 8-episode series dump, and you got, all right, I got 8 hours of this thing to watch. It can be a lot. Some great stories are told with that kind of format, and that you have 8 hours to not only flesh out all your characters, you can explore the plot, have a couple twists and turns, and that. I always think it's a real cheap trick with some TV shows where it's you. Let's say it's 8 episodes, okay? Because I've said it several times, but you get through the first 6, and like they're like, okay, we know what happened. Then the 7th episode is like 20 years ago, and I'm like, come on. I'm like, okay, so does this have anything to do? No, we want you to know how he got the eye patch, and I'm like, I don't care how he got the eye patch. Like, it doesn't matter how he got. It has nothing to do with the story. Like, and then episode 8 is where it all comes into fruit, and you like, don't even remember that. Or like the some of the shows, like they do like a weird like either flashback or like it's an alternate alternate existence. Like Fringe did it. Like, you ever watch the show Fringe? Mm-mm. It's a great show. It's like X-Files, but a little bit more quote unquote rooted in science. There was an episode where it was a huge build-up to this one climax, and you're like, cannot wait to see what this next episode is. And then the next episode was a story that was told by one of the main characters, and then all the characters in the show play different characters in the story. It's supposed to be like a film noir type deal, and you're like, this is boring as hell. It has nothing to do with. They're just okay. We have 20 episodes. We've only written enough for 18. What are we going to do? But to answer your question, what you were asking before is, I think that movies took a huge hit with COVID and the online streaming capabilities. I think they took a huge hit. Can they course correct? Absolutely. A movie just has to be made that people want to watch, that people are going to be excited about. So much of it now is you could watch the first 20 minutes of a movie and be like, I have a pretty good idea of what's going to be happening in this movie.
Yeah, I feel like I see Jessica do that, and she's really good at, and she'll just turn it off. She'll be like, I already know what's going to happen. And I'm like, I guess I'm just too dumb to see it. I'm just like sitting there just enthralled in whatever's going on, bring it on. I'll just watch it to the end. But yeah, I don't know. I was just curious. I don't have that,
We were watching, let me rephrase this. She started watching Hunter's Wives or something like that. It was on Netflix. It had to do the pastor's wife, the governor's wife, the ugly girl's wife. Okay. I'm like, I don't. It was not meant for me. But she's like, oh, you really like it? I'm like, yeah, well, I'll watch it simply because she had the remote and can't really do a whole lot without it. So I'm watching it with her, and like we're eating dinner, and I'm like, it was the governor's wife. And she was like, how do you know? I was like, she stands to lose the most, and it makes the most sense. And she's like, well, I guess we'll see. I'm like, okay, cool. Now, I don't want to spoil the show for any of your viewers, but that's exactly what happened. It is what it is. But like, okay, I'll give you a good example. We just saw Weapons in theaters last week.
Okay.
It starts. It's a great. Have you heard of it? Mm-mm. Okay, so essentially, 17 kids in this one classroom at like 2:17 in the morning. All of a sudden, they all get up, run out of their homes, and they're never seen again, except for one. And it's all this one classroom of like fifth graders or something like that. So obviously suspicion goes to the teacher, who she didn't have anything to do with it, but everybody is accusing her of something. What happened in that class? And you really are like, you're watching it going, what the hell is going on? And it could go a couple of ways. And the movie does a good job of like subverting, like, okay, maybe it's this. And then something else happens. You're like, oh, that's actually interesting if it's going that way. And then something else happens, and you're like, okay, what the hell? Ultimately, the ending, I think they just kind of ran out of time. Okay. Or like they were like, we really don't know how to end this thing. And it's done.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it was. I was like,
well, then it doesn't appeal to anyone. It's like what I'm thinking about is like how I'm interpreting the movie. I'm just sitting there looking at it like, all right, just show me what's going to happen. I'm just going to sit there and enjoy the whole thing.
Yeah.
Where like you're watching it with intent. Like you're trying to figure it out the whole time, and there's two different mindsets there. That's interesting on my end. Is I'm just being entertained, and you're trying to figure it out like the whole time. That's kind of maybe that's why you are in your position. You know,
I guess it's a way of looking at it.
That's wild.
It's also just been forever since like I've watched a movie or really a show in general, and I've just been like, you gotta be kidding me. Like you ever see like the Sixth Sense, where he drops the wedding ring at the end, and like all of a sudden everybody's like, no way. And then you're like, everything makes sense. You're like, oh my God, he's been dead the whole. Spoiler alert. I mean, it's a 25-year-old movie at this point, but it's you're like, get out of town. Like that is insane. That's a great twist. It's one of the greatest twists in modern cinema. But to actually have that feeling again, like I would love to watch a movie where it just completely blew me away, how it ended, everything matched up. Like, I think we all have our favorite movie that we could absolutely watch over and over again and still have that kind of like joyous feeling. And we all have that. But to see a new movie come out where you're like, this is an amazing movie. That has been a long while. Because even like when Marvel was at its height, they were entertaining. And you know, if you knew the comics, you had a vague idea of how it was going to go, but it was kind of like what you're watching it simply for the experience of watching it. And they did change a couple of things here and there to kind of like keep people on their toes, and some iconic things were like, hey, well, this was on the page, now it's on the screen. You're like, wow, that's pretty cool. But Marvel's kind of been on a decline with its quality as of late. But even then, like, to have a movie that really just kind of captures you and keeps you engaged the entire 2-hour run or whatever it is, it's so many movies that they're kind of just boring. They're like watching like the old Steven Seagal flicks. You're kind of like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. I think that, I don't know what I think, but it's also like where we're getting kind of so used to just short clips being like, hit a dopamine, like, you see something in 10 seconds. It's like, dang, that can happen quick. You know, it's like almost like we're subjected to so much chaos and all this stuff. It's like nothing even compares to it. So why even watch it? You know what I mean? Or like you get bored and pull out your phone. And you're like, yeah, Facebook's way more interesting than this movie.
Well, they were showing like Facebook and that, like the reason it bings and all that kind of stuff, and you have new notification. It's like gambling. It gives you that rush of dopamine. So like, you know, the show South Park. So, and I'm sure you've seen like the split screen, like video, like reels and TikToks where like they'll show South Park at the top, and on the bottom, there's a game that's being played, and it's a 15-30 second clip. What they noticed was South Park was actually, its viewership had gone down dramatically. Okay. But then somebody started compiling these clips of like funny clips from South Park, and these games at the bottom were like a bottle flip or like a car driving game, like one of those mindless games. People were watching them. Like, they weren't watching the original clips like they used to, but now like these were getting millions and millions of views of people just staying and watching because there were two things that were happening that kept their attention.
That's crazy.
And because of that, people were like, oh, like, especially the younger crowd, who had never really, they didn't grow up with South Park like you and I, or like they came out when we were kids. So they were seeing the correlation of it, and people were, the younger generation was looking at these things and saying, oh, what show is that from? And then they actually start looking up South Park. And then South Park started seeing a rise in the viewership, and then it actually kind of helped save South Park. And now it's on its 20-something season now.
It's crazy.
Not as big as The Simpsons, but it's insane. Like how, like you said, that dopamine rush, it's so readily available just because of the phones that we carry and the society that we live in, that people get bored with like a 3-hour movie. Like, sounds daunting, but 30 seconds, yeah, I can do that. I can do that in my sleep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what else are you into? I know you're into woodworking. Is that kind of chill?
I love doing it. It's I like doing the rustic, like tables or like live edge shelves, that kind of thing. I got a little mini lathe that I've been working with that I like. And I'm not making any huge bowls or anything, but like little like trinkets and stuff like that I've done. Cool. A couple of them Frankie put on sale at the Art League and sold a couple of them. It's been pretty cool. It's one of those things that I was telling you, like, it's a way to unwind. It's
mindless.
It's mindless. I just focus on this. If it turns out like crap, all right. I'm not, now if I'm making something for somebody, I'll have a lot more focus on it, and I'll do the best job that I'm going to do on it. But like if I just feel like turning something, it helps relieve a lot of the stress. It's so rewarding to kind of see an idea that you had work out and come to fruition. You're like, I thought of that and this worked.
Yep.
I like seeing that, and it's almost like a high of its own. You're kind of like, yeah, I got that.
That's where I get mine at. Like that sense of accomplishment. I noticed when I was into like the HVAC thing, I was fixing things, and that was how my day went. Like if I didn't fix anything that day, or I had like a monotonous day where I just went around and did like whatever quick things or whatever it was, or a project didn't come to an end, I'm like kind of bummed. Like I get that fix of, I don't mean, oh yeah, I get that, like that high of the fix.
Yeah.
Like being in there doing the thing, fixing it. So I get that completely. You see it come together, or it's working again. You're like, oh, nice. That's my dopamine. You know what I mean? That's what drives me on a good day.
I love having a project like what Hannah was saying. I love it when a plan comes together. Like I love when something actually works out. Yeah. Like I just did the pig pen. I just extended.
Oh, nice.
Like we've been talking about it, and like now I had some time yesterday. And I was like, I went to, it was a cavalcade of things that just went completely wrong. I'm going, okay, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get these posts. I'm going to get the panels that I need. I only need 2 because we're only going one size bigger. Not a big deal. This is going to be pretty simple. I get there, and the posts are not going to work in the trailer that they have at Tractor Supply because they would have fallen out the back, because it was really a trailer that you can get like an ATV or something on. It has those tracks, but it doesn't have the full closed off trailer. I'm like, okay, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go home. I'm going to get the truck, because at the time because I had just dropped Frankie off to go down to Virginia Beach for the show. I had said, I'm like, I got the hitch with me. I'm just going to go pick up the trailer, get these things there. It's going to work out great. I'm like, okay, this isn't going to work out like this. I'm going to go get the truck. This way I can put the posts in the back, and then I'll do, okay, cool. Got some dog food. I got all the other stuff that you saw on the truck. Like I picked up all this stuff, and then get there, and the person in front of me runs the trailer before me. I'm like, you got to be absolutely kidding me. So I'm like, all right, not a big deal. Not a big deal. Okay. I'll figure this out. I'm here. I got the truck. I'm going to work it out. Hi, can I get 4 of these? Oh, we only have 3. I'm like, okay. Well, you had 4. Like, yeah, well, that other person. I'm like, perfect, cool. I order 4 of the next step up. It's like $3 extra. I'm not too concerned about it. Get those. Great, cool. Let me get these panels. Fantastic, awesome. They're going to be too long for the bed of the truck. I'm like, okay, I think I have an idea how it's going to work. Oh, this is way longer than I thought it was going to be. It's not going to work. One guy there, Colin was his name, super nice kid. He was like, we're going to fold it. I'm like, okay. We fold it, we ratchet down. Perfect, great. Nice. Get it to the house, rebend it out. It's all looking good. Start up my auger. Auger completely craps the bed. I was like, okay, all right. It was just,
I love this.
Everything kept going wrong. I'm like, this should have been a 30-minute job, and that was going to be the end of it. But no. So ultimately, got it all fixed. It took a couple hours more than I wanted to, but it was like, after it was over, I'm like, all right. I'm like, and I let the pigs, I'm like, check it out. And they didn't use that part for probably 7 hours.
Really?
They kept coming to where the panel was and stopping.
They're so used to it?
They were so used to it. They were like,
this is weird.
And then they turn around and they walk. I'm like, no,
this is weird.
You can come out there. No, we're fine. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I did all this work. But now, this morning, they were checking it all out.
I love that. When a project just wants to fight you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's going to happen.
I love it, but I hate it at the same time. I'm like, all right, well, I guess if you're going to fight, I'm going to keep going. Just keep, whatever. It is what it is. But, yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah, nothing was going correct. And it's almost a separate reward in of its own when it actually does work. It took a little bit extra, but it did work out. So
yeah. No, and then when you step back and you look at it, it's this extra gratification of like, all right, and then it's a cool story to tell too.
It's a fun story. I'm like, just this comedy of errors.
Yeah. I've kind of shifted gears. My buddy posted this thing a while back, and it really changed my mind. I think I've already said it on here once, but I think about things like that I'm like, man, this is so frustrating. I get so worked up. I'm actually doing better about all things considered. I think it's an age thing. But, yeah, I like when I get thinking about like, oh, man, I got to mow the grass, or like I got to go blow the driveway off, or like, stuff like that. I'm like, dude, I shifted gears. I'm honored to do that stuff. Like, I know, like you have a nice little place too. And I'm like, I'm so thankful. It could be so much different. It could be a cardboard box. It could be so many other insert whatever. I'm like, I'm so thankful. Like, I just, my gratitude is growing by the day of just being able to exist, really. And everything else is just a bonus to me. So I'm I don't know, just a different mindset.
I think that's a great way to think about things. Like, think about, well, I think how lucky you are that things have worked out the way that they have. I heard years ago something. It was a joke that somebody had made, like how like people take for granted and don't realize just like how other people would kill to be in some of the positions that other people are. Like this guy, he was telling a story of like, and then some that was quote unquote entitled like, with a pen pal, like in an impoverished country, and he was like, "I understand that your people are going through a drought. My mom made me clean the pool yesterday. I hate her." Like it was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like,
yeah, and then
you have a pool.
Yeah, and then you think about you wanted where you're at so much. At some point in your life, you wanted to be there, and you got there, but you didn't realize it. It's just like it's like you. I don't know. We take it for granted, dude. I'm guilty of it too, man. But lately, I was like, I think about it. When I'm feeling good and I'm not sick, I'm like, nice. Yeah. I feel good. Like I'm gonna think about it right now and appreciate right now for what it is, and not think about it when I'm sick or think about it. It's like, I don't know. That's just been my whole outlook.
It's lately. A good Darius Rucker song. Like all the mistakes, all the choices that didn't work out. Right. They brought him here to this.
That's what my whole mantra has been too. Is all those decisions or like those lefts and right turns like led us to right here today. Like the audio didn't work in one of those in the whatever. It's like it's divine. Like it has to be this way. You know what I mean? There's no sense in fighting. Just to roll with it.
Yeah, it could have happened no other way. That's other than the way that it happened.
Correct.
And now you just you roll with it.
I love it, man. I love it. Well,
I think it's a good way.
We'll get ready to wrap this thing up. But one of the things that I was excited about this morning, Jessica asked me. She's like, "Man, we were sitting on the back porch drinking our coffee," and I'm like, or she goes, "Nobody hit the Powerball last night. It's a 1.8 billion." I'm like, I looked at her. I said, "You could probably only keep like 20 million. You got to give the rest away. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with all that money? You know what I mean? I mean, I know there's...
What wouldn't I do with all that?
Okay, that's what I want to ask you. I don't know. I don't know. It's exciting to think about because everyone has a chance. Like, even if you go buy a lottery ticket right now, I'm like, there is a chance,
Yeah. You can't win unless you play.
Like, right.
Well, you go. You tell me what you would do with that kind of money.
Okay. Honestly, I would probably consult somebody with some knowledge that knows more than I do to consider all things, right? And I mean like everything, like just things that I don't even think about. And I would set enough aside to where my family had generational wealth. Like even if something happened, catastrophe, it was whatever, they could recover. But I honestly feel like, I know I'm not doing that. I'm not saying it just because I would feel it. I literally would have to give some of it away. A lot of it. Yeah. It's just too much. Like, I don't know who I would give it to. It'd be some kind of trusted thing or some source. It wouldn't just be some charity. Maybe I'd make one or do something of some significance for something. I don't know what I'd do, but I'd have to. I could. I'm so lucky right now that like even if nothing ever happens, I'm like I just pinch myself every day. So yeah, super super happy. I don't know. I'd build a sick gym. I know that, and personally, I do a couple things, but I'd probably I hope I would just be who I am. I really do. I just want to be who I am, and I mean it'd be nice to have the financial burden of things not a worry, but I don't know. I love where I'm at. So
you almost salivate thinking of like I ain't got to worry about finance at all because you can pay somebody to worry about that stuff for you, and assuming that they're not going to do like a Steve Harvey's finance guy and rob you blind. But
I know
like you gotta get a lawyer right off the bat. You gotta get somebody in some sort of financial expert or group that's going to handle this money. Set up trusts for like family members, charity, all that jazz, and you probably still have 600 million left after that.
It'd be insane.
It's an insane number because like God, it was like a million seconds or like I think it was I want to say like a day, but I'm sorry 3 days, and a billion seconds are 31 years, which is an insane number to think about when you actually kind of put it all into perspective like that. But somebody at work I was talking to, they said, "Hey, you only get like 688 million," and I'm like, "Oh, is that it? Is that all I get?" Like, granted, it was before the 1.8, but I think this was at the $1 billion mark, and they were like, "Oh, you only get this," and I'm like, "Oh, I only get 688 million? That's a drag."
Bummer.
But yeah, oh man, all right. Well, what's the point of even playing? But
I don't even know how you couldn't even have enough experiences or experience that much. Like, you'd be living to the absolute max every day to try to spend it all before you died.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's like Brewster's Millions. Like, you can't spend that.
No.
And because you'll either get or run out of things to buy, or you will inadvertently make purchases that make you money. Like, you can't spend it all unless you are just blowing it on booze and other things. But
You couldn't even
then, that's an astounding amount.
you'd have to buy your old state enough stuff to, like, even,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's crazy. Like, but obviously you're taking care of your family. You're taking care of, excuse me, maybe a couple of friends. But I've always said, if I won the lottery, I wouldn't tell a soul on the earth that I did it.
There'd be signs.
There'd be signs. It's like, JP doesn't care at work a whole lot anymore. You hear what he said to so and so? It's like, yeah, it's weird. It's like he doesn't care, because I don't. But it's a fun little mental exercise, because you do kind of like, oh, I would do this, I would do that. After this was paid off, that was paid off. Then you just got nothing but, like, I love living where we live, but you could always go bigger, and then, oh, this is a lot of property. Like, I like mowing the lawn. Mm-hmm. Do I really want somebody else to be mowing the lawn?
Right. That's what I was going to say, is it becomes this thing, though, where it's like, it is a nice mental exercise.
It's like that Forrest Gump. I cut that lawn for free. Like, it's like, yeah, you could, because you own part of Macintosh. Like, yeah, you had some money. It is fun to think about, because it really kind of does put a couple things in perspective for you. Like, who would you take care of? How would you spend it? Would you do one lump sum, or would you do the annual? I think that would probably do annual, because for the next 20 years you had this guaranteed amount of money coming in. I like to think that I would still have a job, because I this is the first weekend in probably 3 or 4 months that I have all of my days off, and I was kind of bored yesterday. I was like, I got to find something to do, because I need something to do.
That's another thing, is I look at some people that are retired and they're bored.
Yeah.
They're like, literally, they don't have purpose anymore. Like, their purpose was, working, And it's like, I don't know, there is something to that. And like feeling like there is some sort of, I don't know, like validation or whatever. I don't know. I can't find the word I'm looking for, but like the purpose,
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's fun to think about.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think about it, and then I'm like, you know what? It'd be cool, but it's probably going to overcomplicate everything. And I'm just happy just existing, so I'm cool.
And that's why I say, like, have somebody else handle the money, because they can either make some decisions, or they can, at the very least, give you sage advice of like, hey, look, I would do this, I would not do this. Don't talk to this person. Get rid of all your old phones and emails. Do not answer any of them anymore.
Yeah,
like,
right.
because these people are now dead to you.
Oh yeah.
Like, you can let your family know who your new number. Don't give it to anybody else, because they're gonna come a knocking.
Yeah. Oh, what's cool is Maryland's one of the few states that you can remain anonymous.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Which
That's
is killer.
Yep.
I love that.
I do enjoy that. You can just, oh, it was in Maryland. It was sold over here, and I'd be sitting there in my brand new gold suit, going like, what, here? That's crazy. Do you know who it could have been? I don't know either. Because I'm drinking from some goblet. Yeah. Like, there'd probably be a month where I was like, what's something crazy I could buy that people? What's this? Oh, this? Oh, this is just a goblet that's got crystals on it. Yeah, it's crazy. I had this for years. Anyway.
Yeah, it's fun to think about, man. I can't wait. I'm gonna get out and get my Powerball ticket later, I think. So I don't know.
Don't win unless you play.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, we'll wrap this thing up, dude. But I've thoroughly enjoyed your time, man.
And I yours.
Yeah,
Always a good time.
And one of the things that I want to say is I'm super appreciative of your line of work and all the professional responders and EMS and police and military, and I'm happy to have them on because it opens my eyes to so many things that I don't think about, and maybe somebody else's too. So I think that that's cool, and I just hope to continue doing that. So
yeah, I appreciate that, and like I said, I'm very lucky to work where I do, and have supported people like you and the other citizens and tourists that come to this area. Like I couldn't ask for a better environment to work in. So thank you all.
yeah, man. Well, I'm pumped that you were here, and we're gonna close her out.
All right,
So,
rock on, man.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Take care.